Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in, like, subscribe, and all the other stuff in between there, mainly because I do appreciate the engagement. But today we're taking a look at overlapping technology that spanned from the 90s and actually continued all the way through the global war on terror. Or, well, that's pretty much still going on to an extent. But what I mean is Operation Iraqi Freedom after 9/11 and some of the technology that progressed further past that that we still use today in limited quantities, and some that is completely phased out. So bear with me. Before we can go forward and hit the year 2000 mark, we have to take a look back to the 1980s for a limited moment, for a limited time period. So right here is an M16A2 type variant. It's a Colt match H-bar. You can tell the bayonet lug is missing. Colt kind of got ahead of the curve on that. Long story there. We'll get to that in another video. But this gun right here, developed in the 1980s, but still used in Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom, all the way at least to a minimum of the year like 2005, 2006. Now, the pictures I could find, the research I could find, and then talking to personal friends who were issued those rifles, they were also issued alongside the M16A4s, but Marines in particular, M16A2, still being used from 1980. And yes, of course, the metallurgy, the models had probably progressed in terms of manufacturing, but they were being issued alongside guns such as the M4A1. So the M4A1 here, the advent of this gun was crazy for my generation. So we had, been seeing M16A2s, M16A2 carbines, the XM4 program, 723s, 727s, Colt Commandos that came out of Vietnam, and like kind of the rarity of those. And then we get this crazy looking thing. And we have the absence or the deletion of a fixed carry handle. We have a flat top A3 style, was what's considered now an A3 style. We have quad rails that came into existence, and these aren't as old as I thought they were. And like a myriad of different optics that came out of to pretty much go along and play with this gun. I don't mean play with the gun, I mean to play along like with the gun. It's like, plug and play type components. Anyway, so this is not an actual M4A1. It is a 16-inch barrel. It's a Colt 6920 more or less. It's a Colt law enforcement carbine, but it's a Canadian. So this gun is really freaking cool. I love the M4 to a limited extent. I love it as much as I can. I'm more of an AK guy, but I love history. And so looking at this gun spawned a lot of different variants. So you have the M16A2 being issued alongside an M4 carbine, which it's just kind of crazy. It's kind of wild. It depended on the application, of course, but a gun that was born in the 1980s being used along this new technology from 1993, 1994, but at the same time, you still have very, very limited quantities of the 727 or 723 to an extent being seen in Iraq and Afghanistan. So this is the Black Hawk Down clone, guys. It's a DPMS. Weird history behind this rifle. To be honest, it's a 14.5 pin and weld, but I'll get into the history of it later. But everyone has to clone the Black Hawk Down, Hoots rifle, right? Why? I don't know, but that almost happened. It's a thing. So as we're seeing the technology evolve, and we have the M4A1, we also are seeing the M16A2 like right alongside it. We are seeing M16A4s, again, kind of like an M4, heavier profile barrel deletion, basically an M16A2 with the deletion of the carry handle. And then we're going to go into like 2001. 2001, we have the H&K 416, and to me this gun is new. This is new technology, but it's not. It's 25 years old at this point, 24 years old technically, but around 2004-ish from what I could find, and it's probably earlier than that, or it may be earlier than that. There are accounts of the 416 being seen used by different groups in Iraq or Afghanistan, more than likely seen with a quad rail on it, an HK quad rail, and not like the M-Lock that I have on this one now. And yes, this is the platform or the gun that killed bin Laden, so everyone, this gun's kind of famous, or the platform is. But nonetheless, can you imagine walking through like the barracks or walking on base, and you're carrying an M16A2 and you see this cat with this very short quad-railed, no front sight post contraption? That'd be pretty cool, right? It'd be wild. And were those groups ever like actually interacting? I have no idea. I wasn't there. I'm just giving you like a conjecture to kind of show like the overlapping, the technology and how it evolved, and how some things were still being implemented while others were being phased out. And then at the same time, as we have the M4A1, which, you know, not even 10 years prior was considered the epitome of technology and DI gun, we have like the Block 1 and Block 2 is coming out. So 2007, 2008-ish, we have the Block 2, Block 2 in particular, 2008. And the idea here was the M4A1s, with the suppressing fire, was starting to kill the barrels, whether that was gas tube related or barrel related. A matter of conjecture of which component was failing first. Probably I'd say if the barrel failed, the gas tube was pretty much irrelevant at that point. But anyway, I went to the dark place of Reddit and it got weird really quick. So you are issued an M4. And M4A1, a lot of the times, just basic handguard. Clamshells, not the Knight's Armament rail. You just had like the basic M4, just the basic M4. And then you see someone walking around base with a Block 1 or Block 2, this really cool full-length railed gun, a bunch of different systems attached to it, different optic, and you're like, that's freaking cool, that's crazy. But to me, this is one of the most aesthetically pleasing guns, and still, to me, kind of a new technology, but it's 2008, and we're in 2025. So not really new technology. And again, looking back, this technology has existed since like Vietnam, and we've just continued to improve upon the metallurgy, the systems to help them improve reliability wise. So we have improved going into the Block 2 program with the M4A1s. We have the SOCOM profile barrels coming out on the regular issued M4A1s that are still being pretty much issued, I think currently even in limited quantities as we're phasing them out. But you have the SOCOM profile barrels, the thicker profile barrels to help with suppressing fire so the guns don't, blow up. And then in 2018, as we still have those other guns running around, we start seeing the URGI. So the upper receiver group improved, started coming out with a 13.5-inch Geisley handguard and a war comp, or the Surefire compensator or flash hider. And, again, thicker profile barrels and light, extraordinarily light in comparison to even the Block 2. But this is 2018, so to me, this is still really new technology. I've only recently, I did try it like at one point to clone one of these, and I lost interest. But I bought a Mark 14 handguard, not the Mark 16, because I wasn't really that interested in it. So now I have like random stuff laying around because that's who I am as a person. But anyway, this is pretty accurate to an extent. And so then we see like even smaller and lighter optics coming out instead of like the Comp M4s and Comp M2s and things. And alongside that, existing until 2018 and still being used in limited capacity today, we have the Mark 12 program that spawned during all of this conflict and all of these different rifles and the need for different platforms and different usages. And so we have the Mark 12 program that had 18-inch barrels, and the development of the Mod H, which had a 16-inch profile barrel. So the whole point of all this is I wanted to make myself feel old. And then I look at the Mark 12 or the Mark 18 Mod 0, and to me, I'm like, that is still like a really awesome M4 style platform gun, but it's old. We're talking year 2000, 1998, 2000. And so it's not new either. It's kind of like a mini M4. It kind of literally is, but still, nonetheless. The renaissance here that has occurred as we're looking at all this overlapping technology, and we're going to 2018 primarily because we start phasing out different weapon systems at that time and start focusing more on like the URGI program, and then start with different contracts and things. There are two guns that have lasted throughout all this to an extent. The MP5 has showed lasting power, and the Beretta M9 up until like SIG started, won a few contracts. We'll say won in a very reluctant way. And also SIG's, the 320 platform, Mark 18s, 17s are kind of autonomous in nature. Not the 17s or 18s, but the other oones may be kind of crappy. Anyway, looking at all this, like you have companies that are reproducing M16A2s, 727, 723, 635s, DOEs, and people are loving this stuff. And I don't know if it's my generation that are just wanting to feel nostalgic, or if it's younger generations that grew up with the M4A1s and then grew up with like the Block 2s, and the URGIs are nothing special to them because everyone makes a black rifle that looks similar, and they're like, I want something different, and then they go down the rabbit hole history. So I love seeing, I'm going to call it a revival and a renaissance of these older platforms, which makes me feel really old, but I love seeing like some of this cool new retro stuff that's coming about. Especially because it gives me an opportunity to get like a DOE, because before that, the other company that made them was like super freaking expensive, and that was a negative for me. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your favorite piece of overlapping technology here was, and what do you think about like the fact that some of these were being used side by side with some of this older technology, and now people want the older technology, not even the newer technology, but their older technology is probably still better than what we had, because the metallurgy, the gas systems, gas rings, and everything's better, probably better than what it was. Anyway, you guys have a great morning, and get out to the range if before it gets like 113 degrees out.